a college admissions scandal appear in court. Increasing clouds, showers, and even a few storms. The details now on First at 4.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, we are about 6 hours away from Kentucky playing the last game in the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament. The Houston Cougars will try to prevent the Cats from moving on to an Elite 8 game on Sunday. WYMT's Marcus Browning and Will Puckett are live in Kansas City with our Big Blue coverage. Guys.
Steve, hello from a damp and cold Kansas City for day 2 of WYMT's coverage from the Sweet 16 and hopefully from the Elite 8 later on. Marcus, the biggest thing to speak about this NCAA tournament run is there have been a handful of SEC teams in it.
A lot of SEC teams, and it's been really a week of waiting and preparation. The SEC has really helped Kentucky get prepared because the Wildcats enter this postseason battle-tested and ready for tough teams, large in part due to the tough games that the Southeastern Conference provided this season. SEC totaled 4 of the 16 teams that advanced to the Sweet 16. And with how tough conference play was this year, John Calipari says the amount of good teams in the league is what has really resulted in so much success for the schools that are in the Big Dance.
When you talk about that on top of the 7 teams that made it and maybe one more could have, every game was a war. There were no easy games in our league for any team, which is why we benefited now.
Definitely. SEC is a great conference. Really been moving up. It was a tough league this year. I'm sure it'll be even tougher next year. You know, so many great players in this conference, you know, from the bottom to the top. So.
Of course, Tennessee fell short last night to Purdue, but still we have LSU and Michigan State this evening, and then of course, here in Kansas City, the Auburn Tigers and Bruce Pearl taking on Roy Williams and the number 1 seed North Carolina Tar Heels out of the Midwest region.
A tough test for sure, Marcus. And I went to get coffee this morning, and an Auburn fan came up to me and said, "Boy, I sure do hope we get to see you Sunday." And I looked at him and I said, "I agree. However, if you all keep shooting the way that you are, I don't think anybody wants to run into them." They are playing really well. Now, Marcus, on to the fan side. We were walking around Kansas City yesterday and didn't see much of that Kentucky blue. But today,
it's a different story.
It is a much different story. Now, Big Blue Nation is starting to show up and show out in Kansas City, walking up and down Grand Boulevard and into Kansas City Live, the building right next to us, getting ready for this late tip-off that Steve mentioned. The Cats are facing here tonight. BBN is here from all over, getting ready to hopefully propel their Wildcats into an Elite 8 berth.
We drove here last night, 10-hour drive. We are super excited.
We bought tickets for the Louisville Regional, and then unfortunately we got shipped to the Midwest, but we sold our Louisville tickets to some Purdue fans and decided to make a road trip here over spring break and come to Kansas City.
Well, we're here to watch Kentucky win. That's what I think about it. See Hero go off on them.
Now the saga of will P.J. Washington play is into this week, Marcus. You'll most likely have much more on that later on.
We'll be touching on that. I mean, it's the biggest question of this NCAA tournament run for Kentucky. It's a question on everybody's mind. We'll have to wait and find out later on this evening.
And definitely, we're going to run in and get a little bit of warmth before the 5:30 and 6. We'll have much more from Kansas City. Still more than 5 hours, Marcus, from tip-off.
But whenever you get to talk about Kentucky basketball, there's not much better things to do.
Of course, especially in late March like it is now. Steve, we'll send it back to you for now. Live outside the Sprint Center, Will Puckett, Marcus Browning. We'll send it back to you.
Well, cloudy and cool there with a lot of rain in Kansas City, especially tonight. For us, that rain going to be arriving for tomorrow. The cloud cover already working again ahead of this pretty large system. Notice Slade, Kentucky, the Mountain Parkway. You'll continue to see cloud cover, the big story at this time. And even at the National Weather Service camera, those cloudy skies continue. And it's going to be another cloudy one here with some showers and storms possibly later tonight. But the majority of this will be throughout your Saturday. Of course, satellite radar, a little bit of rain trying to work through. Most of it not reaching the ground, drying out. But we will still hold on to that 20% chance later tonight. Most of us actually looking at showers now as you work closer to Interstate 69 there, 57 as you work through Illinois and western Kentucky picking up on that rain. Of course, 68 in Clarksville, Tennessee, 66 in Bowling Green, and we're still not bad. The mid to upper 60s across eastern Kentucky with 61 in Wise, Virginia, 68 in Whitley County, and 69 in Bell County. Steve, we'll get up into the mid-70s tomorrow. The bad news, well, the showers and storms, they'll arrive shortly after. We'll break down when you can expect those to happen and the rest of the weekend coming up in a few short minutes.
All right, Andrew, thank you. The National Park Service in Maryland conducted its first prescribed fire on 35 acres at the Monocacy National Battlefield today. The goal of the fire is to help reduce hazardous fuels and minimize the risk of wildland fires. The fire will also help maintain the historic open battlefield landscape similar to its 1864 appearance and improve wildlife habitat. More than a dozen parents charged in a massive college admissions scandal had their initial court appearance in Boston today. In all, 33 people, including actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, were arrested in the case. CBS's Mark Liverman reports from New York.
One after another, 15 parents accused of gaming the system in the largest college admissions scandal walked into a federal court in Boston to be arraigned on conspiracy charges.
Think about this whole case.
2 of your children?
Did your parents know? Did your daughter know?
Prosecutors say 33 suspects paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to rig test scores and bribe coaches to get their children into elite colleges. Actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin are among those charged. Investigators say Rick Singer was the alleged mastermind behind the scheme. Singer, along with former Stanford University sailing coach John Vandemore and former Yale soccer coach Rudy Meredith, have all pleaded guilty to pocketing hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes from parents.
It's clear by all of this that we need reform.
In the wake of the scandal, California lawmakers have proposed sweeping college reforms, including requiring 3 college administrators to sign off on special admissions and banning special treatment for children of donors or alumni.
We want to make sure that hard work is rewarded. You shouldn't just get rewarded because of what family you're born into. You should get rewarded for how hard you study.
Huffman and Loughlin have not spoken out about the allegations. Both are scheduled to appear in court next week. Mark Liverman, CBS News, New York.
Rick Singer and Rudy Meredith will be sentenced in June. President Donald Trump held a rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan last night where he and his supporters cheered the end of special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. The president did not hold back on what he thinks of the 8 different congressional investigations still looking into him, his business dealings, his campaign, and inauguration committee. His attacks turned personal against the Democrat leading the House Intelligence Committee's investigation.
Little pencil neck Adam Schiff. He's got the smallest, thinnest neck I've ever seen.
Despite the criticism from the president and other Republicans, Congressman Schiff insists that President Trump and his campaign committed wrongdoing during the 2016 election. President Trump is ramping up his rhetoric on illegal immigration just a day after Homeland Security officials asked Congress for sweeping new powers to deport unaccompanied minors who cross the U.S.-Mexico border. The president is again threatening to close the U.S. border with Mexico, tweeting in part, "If Mexico doesn't immediately stop all illegal immigration coming into the United States through our southern border, I will be closing the border or large sections of the border next week."
We'll keep it closed for a long time. I'm not playing games. Mexico has to stop it.
In Mexico, authorities are bracing for another large caravan carrying migrants from El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, hoping to reach the U.S. border. 2 weeks after the shooting massacre at 2 mosques in New Zealand, more than 20,000 people attended a national memorial service to honor the victims. They came by the thousands to show unity in the face of hate and to remember those senselessly killed by a white supremacist targeting Muslims. To find peace, the New Zealand Prime Minister called for a global response to extremism.
An assault on the freedom of any one of us who practices their faith or religion is not welcome here. Violence and extremism in all its forms is not welcome here.
Her message resonated across faiths and borders, with 59 countries taking part in the ceremony. A standoff near Atlanta backed up traffic for several miles. This was the scene on Interstate 75 this morning. With guns drawn, more than a dozen police officers and a SWAT vehicle blocked all southbound lanes of the interstate and swarmed a car. Police say the driver is a robbery suspect. After more than an hour and a half of negotiations, the person was taken into custody. The incident happened near a major interchange in Atlanta and backed up traffic for 10 miles. No word on what charges the suspect may face. An Atlanta teenager is dead after police say he knocked on the wrong apartment door. It happened around 12:30 this morning. 32-year-old Daryl Bynes says the shooting was in self-defense. The 19-year-old victim recently moved into the complex, and his girlfriend lives near the shooter's apartment. Bynes is in police custody as they investigate. With the Power Up the Pantry food drive coming up next Friday, the community has been working together to collect items to replenish local food pantries. The Hazard Independent School System took on the challenge of collecting items by making it a competition. Now, after tons of food was donated today, one local food pantry, New Hope, is already thankful for the community's support.
Oh, it's huge. You know, this enables us to do more, you know, than we've done before, and maybe not have to try and figure out, okay, where we're going to go to grab the next thing, you know. So, yeah, this is just a massive impact, and I love seeing the local community get involved.
Power Up the Pantry will take place April 5th with collection sites in Hazard and Prestonsburg. More information is available on our website, WYMT.com. Head over to Wall Street now on this Friday afternoon. A good end to the week. The Dow closes up more than 211 points. Straight ahead on First at 4, a man finds a World War II scrapbook in great condition. Now he wants to return it to its rightful owner.
And the rain chances are the main story over the next couple of days. We'll break down your forecast coming up in 3 minutes.
Breathe easier with ARH Home Care Store oxygen and home medical equipment. Our stores are conveniently located throughout southeastern Kentucky, plus you get after-hours and weekend service through your local ARH hospital. Comprehensive and convenient. ARH, taking care of you at home.
Ah, boating. Tundra. A little R&R. Camry.
Wow, she's good.
Off-roading. Forerunner. Our treasure hunting. Highland.